You want to say all praises and honor to Yahweh, or Hashem Yahushai, or Hashem HaKadosh, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to all our brothers out there, pushes truth in all sincerity and in all honesty. This is a brother from James, Jamaica camp, Yashamai.
Ashar.
Iwar.
Shapal.
And we have a video. And this is coming race war or civil unrest that will take place in America. You know, because we see how things that will basically take place right now. You know, and even Trump speech, Trump basically make. So hey, anything can basically happen in the time to come out. That is election next month. Because we are today, I believe today the 1st of October. So we see how things stay right now in America. And according to Bible prophecy, you know, race war going to take place in the land of America. You know, and we live in that time of prophecy. Remember?
So this is an article from RollingStone.com entitled Donald Trump is trying to start a race war. So with the Insurrection Act, he has the statutory authority to do so. So President Trump has not hidden who he is. He started his presidential campaign after slowly descending his grilled escalator with a no-hold barrier, racist act on the Mexican. Then he began his time as president by banning Muslims from entering the country. Later that summer he called white supremacy who terrorized blacks and Jews right in Charlotte, Virginia. Alright? And he goes on to speak about the Chinese flu. You know what I mean?
Kung flu.
Alright? So it's this part of the article said basically, and it's dated the 2nd June 2020. Right, so right before curfew fell on the city, right, the president announced, I will deploy the United States militia and quickly solve the problem then. His goal is to use federal resources, including the militia, to stop the rioting, looting, and to end destruction and arson, right, to the protection of the rights and laws abiding citizens of America.
So we see all the whole Black Lives Matter thing, you know, kick off after the death of George Floyd, you know, and now we see the whole Grandmaster Jerry now, you know, a push film thing. You know, we see how this whole race war attention basically a build or a group people and a grow in America. You know, and as we go closer and closer, you know, to the end of this year, you know, we see things, you know, popping up. Give me a thing, brother. Isaiah 19
And
verse Egyptian. What?
this is Isaiah 19 verse 2.
What?
You say, and I will set the Egyptians,
Read from one.
verse 1, the burden of Egypt, behold the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud.
Because now we know the time now when the Lord outshine, you know, about to make him a rival, you know, any day, you know, soon. You know, so she said, the burden of what? The burden of the Lord, you know, the Lord ride upon Egypt.
The burden
what?
of Egypt.
In a cloud, and the cloud basically represents what? The chariots. According to Psalms 104 and 3. Say, who make it the cloud is chariots. You know, and modern day Egypt is what? America. According to Revelation 11 and verse 8, spiritually known as what Sodom and Egypt. See, continue, brother.
Basically, we can see this basically talk about the chariots, man.
Go on.
And basically, you can see videos of the chariots coming more and more in America. See?
Yeah.
The chariots have visit the herd more and more, man.
Right.
So the Lord of the Spirit at work to bring forth all of the tension that's supposed to happen at the earth to fulfill the prophecies, man.
Go on.
See?
And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence,
Go on.
and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it.
Done.
And I will set the Egyptian against the
So
Egyptians.
really far as I'm going to set one, the Egyptians against the Egyptians. So the modern day Egyptians are the so-called white people. You know, starting from them head, you know, banking lead.
Right.
So that set the Edomites against the Edomites, which are basically so-called white people. Like we have the Democrats and the Republicans now. So we see how you know, this prophecy you know, of basically come to pass now, you know, soon. See, when Heavenly Father say going to take place, you know, man said what the Egyptians against the Egyptians, Edomites against the Edomites, go on.
Civil unrest, man.
Called civil unrest, as brother mentioned, go on.
And they shall fight everyone against his brother,
And they shall fight everyone against his brother, go on.
and everyone against his neighbor,
Go on.
city against city,
City against city,
and
state
kingdom
against state, go on.
and kingdom against kingdom.
Kingdom against kingdom. And she say if a kingdom is divided, it cannot stand you.
God.
So a lot of stir up, you know, these Edomite now, in America, yo, against each other. Lord, how about Shmear shall do that?
Right?
What?
Yes, so Satan stand against state and
Kingdom cannot stand.
kingdom must never stand.
What, brother? Find out?
Stand it on. It's got it.
But so you would have to be living under a rock not to know what's going on right now.
Done. Exactly.
So just a short recap. So, here it said last Monday, said Minneapolis police murdered George Floyd, an unarmed black man who was being accused of a counterfeit $20 bill and a convenience store. In the days that followed, protests grew and spread, starting in Minneapolis and taking place in seemingly every city in the country on a daily basis. So protest has been loud and angry, forceful, demanding justice for George Floyd. It's a Breonna Taylor killed in Louisville, Kentucky, early May, right? And all other unharmed black people who have been murdered by police, right? And other white vigilantes, such as Amu Arbery, right? And Trayvon Martin, as well as documented police around the country have engaged in violent attacks against protesters, journalists, and citizens watchdog.
No, a lot of these protesters are agent provocateurs, refugees are either because you know the banking lead they want a race war. You see, they want a race war basically started. You see, their motives are harder or kill, harder through chaos.
Like you have this group of talk about Antifa, the whole Black Lives Matter movements and all of that. Yes, they're a part of it. All of them put together. When we say boy I did this thing is all a part of what? The elite. Looking for the agenda, man.
That's what the article says. So racism courses through Donald Trump's blood. So, and is one of the fundamental principles of his presidency. Right? Which is why when faced with one of the greatest uprisings against police brutality in the nation has seen, right, a movement led by black people around the country and joined by all other of colors and white, right, as white people as well. His only solution is to start a race war, and unfortunately, American law give him the authority to do so.
Well, exactly. And according to my prophecy, race war going to take place as I mentioned earlier. Second Ezra's 15. What?
The second Ezra's 15 and verse 1.
What?
So 1. Second Ezra's 15 verse 1 says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy.
You must speak down in the ears of the Lord's people the word of prophecy. And who's the Lord's people? The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American and Indian. Two people called Israelite today. So we're supposed to speak in the ears, you know, the word of prophecy. Because we're living at a time, you know, when all these prophecies come to pass right before our eyes. One?
Which I will put in thy mouth, say the Lord.
One?
And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true.
Because what? The word of the Heavenly Father is what? Faithful and true. One?
Jump down. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 14. Say, woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
One?
For the sword and their destruction draw nigh.
For the sword and their destruction draw nigh. One?
And one people shall stand up to fight against another.
One people shall stand up to fight against another. You know, talking about you know, class warrior. You know, race war. All these things are basically you see, preparing right now in America. What?
And sword in your hands.
And weapons in their hand. And we always see the malicious them, you know, training, you know, preparing, you know, basically go at it, yo.
As you talk about, I'm going to bring out this article. This is an article from RT News, October 1st, that's today, 2020. It says Atlantic fuels white supremacists, fears with claims outkeepers, militia packed with cops and vets are plotting civil war. It says a militia group called the Outkeepers that includes cops, soldiers, and veterans is spoiling for war, or so an alarmist profile portraying its members as trigger-happy white supremacists, claims raising pre-election fear port. See? Yes, so basically what them basically are saying on pre-election fear pre-election fear porn, man, because guess what? Right now it's that of the talk in the year. So anybody lose or win this election, man, or worse if Donald lose the election, these white supremacists making votes that they're gonna come out, man. See? And they're gonna go hard. See? At these at Negroes and other people, man, they're gonna go hard at the Democrats, man. Because most of these supremacists back the Republic Party, man. See? It says capitalizing on a wave of sensationalist stories about white supremacists and militias menacing America. See? The Atlantic has shown a spotlight on the Outkeepers, a decade-old group with members in every U.S. state, some 2/3 of whom hail from law enforcement or the military, with vows to defend the country from all enemies, foreign and domestic, armed and dangerous. The group believes the U.S. is currently in a civil war and is spreading that gospel to activate duty service members and cops. The outlet warned on Wednesday. So basically, them man have make a hold. Say, boy, see, them are going to defend them country and them believe in them constitutional rights. See, so anything or anything. So basically, they must say anything or anything. See, them ready for the war. See, and these men are what? Law enforcement man, ex-military men and all them things, man. Hey, so you know say a lot, hey, all of them jakes out there will feel some more of them and push like
yeah, follow Grandmaster G.
Grandmaster G and all of them things.
That ain't gonna get put to death. See, there is coming destruction. See, because a lot of them can't even shoot neither. And he saw them from a younger age, you know, they've been training to shoot.
Right.
And the scripture says, they're blessed with the sword. According to Genesis 27 and 40, they're blessed with forefather Isaac give to Esau and Edom. The sword, they have to them basically blessing.
Alright, verse 16, Genesis 15 and 16 says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another.
And invading one another. Go on.
They shall not regard their kings nor princes.
So you have total chaos, man, that take place here, in America. Go on.
And the course of their action shall stand in their power.
Because in our business no more, our business more than the leaders. They take things not for them hand, matters not for them hand. Go on.
A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
So you have a checkpoint, put up, right across, America, right across even the world, because, we're approaching the time now, when the East side them going to go all out against our people. They're going to try to control the mass of people. Because, you have chaos that take place here. What?
Hey, I wish you say, hey, this, as we can't stop saying, hey, this is a beautiful time for us as men of the Lord. See? Because hey, for years we've been toiling and laboring, see, and spreading the gospel about all these things, man. Spreading the words of the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai. And through the Spirit we see these things happening now, man. Hey, these things are faith boosters, man. This is supposed to build our faith for him to push more and more. See? Do the work, man. Because we can see the hand is right there, man.
Very
see?
close. But in here I want to believe.
For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Man shall have no pity upon his neighbor.
If I say a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, what?
but shall destroy the houses with the
The
sword,
weapon, machetes, the gun. What?
spoil their goods because of lack of bread.
Because of what? The lack of bread, we also see what? Shortage of food now. Being news coming out daily now about shortage of food right across the world. So we are approaching some serious time now and some serious thing going to take place here.
And for great tribulation.
And for great tribulation.
This is Zechariah 9 verse 13.
One,
So when I have bent Judah for me, fill the bow with Ephraim,
gone.
and rise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece.
So you also going to take a race war will take place in America, so-called Negroes, Latinos and Native American and Indian, against the so-called white people and also this Eden nation, because go back to Bible prophecy. So what the scripture say, Lord Yahweh, Bashim say, after I bend Judah. So Lord Yahweh, I use the analogy, of this kind of weaponry. Because the Lord Yahweh is a man of war. So it's after I've been Judah. And Judah basically what? The so-called Negroes in America. You have what? The Southern Kingdom, which are Judah, that are the so-called Negroes in America, the West Indians and the Asian. Judah, Benjamin and Levi. The Southern Kingdom, you have the Northern Kingdom. Headed by what? Ephraim. It's the so-called Puerto Ricans. On down to the so-called Mexican. So Lord said, after I bend Judah for me, fill the bow with Ephraim. One.
Right. And rise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece.
And rise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, against the Grecians. So the so-called white people, they don't want to take on the Greek custom. So if I going to rise up the so-called Negroes, Latinos and Native American and Indian against the so-called white people, they really for the one going to do it because race war going to take place. You see, a lot of people going to get put to death, as I mentioned, because they believe that some of them can fight against Esau either, by taking up the sword. They say, you have Grandmaster J. Fowler, as I say, they've been talking for years. Now it's time for action. But that they're going to get put to death. You see, because people say, wait thee upon me until the day that I rise up to the prayer. You see what? They want to fulfill prophecy. They get put to death because they believe that someone can take up arms and fight against Esau, Edom and win. And that they're going to get put to death because Grandmaster J. lead them to them destruction. What?
And made thee when I have bent Judah for me, and fill the bow with Ephraim, and rise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man.
And made thee as what? The sword of a mighty man. Give me brother Micah 5 and verse 7. Bring out that. Micah 5 and verse 7. One? Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Micah 5 verse 7.
One?
Yes, and the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people.
One, you say the remnant of Jacob shall be what? In the midst of many people. One?
As a dew from the Lord.
One.
See? As the showers upon the grass that chariot, not for a man, nor waited for the sons of men.
One.
See? And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles.
The remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles. One?
In the midst of many people.
In the midst of many people, you have all different nations from all different walks of life, come to America, to live here. So America known as what? The melting pot. So people are going to be in the midst of all these nations here. What?
As a lion among the beasts.
As a lion among the beasts, going back to Genesis, Judah is a lion whelp. From prey, my son, thou art gone up. He crouched and humbled himself. You can bring it up, brother? Yeah, as a whole lion, who shall rouse him up? Because according to the scripture, there are certain men in the law going to receive spiritual power. We are waiting for the Heavenly Father, according to the scripture say what we're supposed to do. So you can't take up arms and go fight against Esau and win. This is Esau's kingdom. Esau owns all the resources. You have everything right now. Their possession. One.
Genesis 49 and verse 9.
One.
So Judah is a lion's whelp.
It was said Judah is a lion's whelp. One.
From a prey, my son, thou art gone up.
From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. Because at one point in time we have prey upon all these nations. the so-called white man and all these hidden nation here. I have a scripture in I think 2 Kings 8 and 22 I believe. Say Edom revolt from one of Judah. So if these so-called white people would have basically pray upon at one point in time. You see what? No, we come and pray unto them, yo. Because you say what? You want to give us over in the hands of our enemy. To punish us. Go on.
Alright. So the Lord gone up, he stooped down and he crouched as a lion,
Gone.
and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up.
Who shall rouse him up? Go on.
So the scepter shall not depart from Judah.
Go on, exactly. Go back to that number there.
It says, as a lion among beasts of the forest,
Go on.
as a young lion
As a young lion, go on.
among the flock of sheep,
Gone.
who, if he go through both, tread it down and tear it in pieces, and none can deliver.
Because the Heavenly Father going to give the elect spiritual power. You know, so you say, in the day of thy power, thy people shall be willing. I have a scripture in Isaiah 59 and 19 say, you know, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Lord will lift up. Read on.
Isaiah 59 verse 19.
What?
So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun.
Go on.
When the enemy shall come in like a flood,
When the enemy shall come in like a flood, when the so-called white man come in like a flood, go on.
the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against
The
him.
Heavenly Father will lift up a standard against the so-called white man. He's going to defend him election. You see, about 2/3 of our people that want to get put to death here. See, but say, Lord, I'm going to number you to the sword, and you shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when the Heavenly Father called, they did not answer. So you're going to get destroyed. You believe that somehow you can take up things in your own hand and fight against the so-called white man and win, you're going to get destroyed. Go on, finish. And so with that, I say all praises and honor to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, Bashim, Kodash, and noble honors to the apostles and elders of Great Stone. Shalom to all our brothers and out there push the truth in all sincerity and in all honesty. Shalom.
Shalom.